All right, everybody, welcome back at Eyewitness News. Inside Out 2 could be the hit Disney needs to get back on track at the box office. In fact, the box office tracking that this animated sequel could open somewhere between $80 to $90 million. A little bit over 82.5 is all it needs to do to be the biggest debut of the year, beating out Dune Part 2. Movie reviewer, YouTuber, Sean Chandler joins us to talk all about it. Sean, now you've seen the movie yourself. I want to know from you, is it redeeming Pixar? We've had some failures with the last couple of movies. Elemental was okay, but does this movie redeem Pixar?
So from 1995 to 2010, from Toy Story to Toy Story 3, Pixar had this incredible run of films that were beloved by audiences and critics. They defined so many people's childhood, and those people have now grown up and are starting to have kids of their own. But the last several years, it feels like some of that magic's been missing, where they put out some good movies. Elemental last year was good, but was it special? And I don't think they have been. I feel like Inside Out 2 is a return to that specialness, that magic, where it's a film that's highly entertaining. But because it's a film exploring what goes on in our minds, it does such a great job of unpacking the experience of growing up, being a teenager. It's a movie that's useful. It's a film where, like, I was watching it thinking, I can't wait for my son to see this so that maybe he can understand himself and the people around him a little bit better. But so I think the movie itself is great. I think it's the best Pixar film in years. Will it fully redeem Pixar and bring them back? Well, I think that takes not just one great movie, but it takes a pattern. They had 15 years of greatness to build a certain reputation, so you can't win that back with one movie.
Okay.
But I think that this is a great movie.
Well, you mentioned you have a son, and you want him to see this, but you also have two daughters.
Yes.
And this film takes place with a girl becoming a teenager, and the emotions that come with that kind of emotion. Now, as a dad, what kind of emotions did this put you through?
So I was able to bring my 10-year-old daughter to see this movie. And my wife and I have always joked that she's been a teenager since she was 5 years old. And we got about like 30 minutes into this movie, and she turns over to me and she goes, "This is the most stressful movie I've ever seen." So what the movie does really well is it takes the Riley character, that's the girl who the emotions are in her head, and she has a much more prominent role in the film where she has a whole plot line, a character arc, and you're watching her basically in that awkward middle school phase where she's trying to stay friends with her old friends of childhood while also trying to move into this more mature high school friendships. And she makes a lot of bad choices along the way. And you see what's going on in her head with anxiety finally kind of entering the picture. And so it's really uncomfortable, really entertaining, very insightful. And it just does a great job of presenting why on earth does everyone get so weird and awkward in middle school? And it does it in a way where it takes this idea of anxiety that is kind of the villain of the film, but also makes it clear that anxiety serves a purpose. It's there for a reason, but anxiety that's out of control also can be a villain in your life. But it just does a great job of unpacking all of that.
Speaking on emotions, we all have different emotions, but I want to know from Sean Chandler, what emotion from you would you have liked to see come up on the big screen that's your emotion?
So, I don't know if it's an emotion necessarily, but since Inside Out is tackling what goes on inside of our heads, if Pixar made a short about creativity, there's such a creative studio that if they find a creative way to like capture whatever that process is of our mind, making these connections between all sorts of ideas, that's for me the one that would be really exciting to see, the creative process.
I think that would probably be like a Bob the Builder then. Like,
yes,
creative is someone like, and it goes for Bob Iger. He's the Bob the Builder since he's in charge of Disney over there. Hey, is there, as for Father's Day, your dad of three, is there a movie that you want your kids to actually go watch?
Oh, so the one that comes to mind, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Normally, my kids are very open to watching a bunch of my old favorite films from the 70s, 80s, early 90s. Last year, when Dial of Destiny came out, I tried to watch the Indiana Jones movies with them, and they just shut me down. They would not watch Indiana Jones with me. And it was like, Oh no! It's like they're ripping my heart out, like that scene from Temple of Doom. So if I could finally get them for Father's Day to sit down and watch an Indiana Jones movie with me and at least pretend to enjoy it, that would be a good Father's Day.
If they won't watch it, ground them, and they're going to learn their
Correct.
lesson, Dad. Hey, happy
Exactly.
Father's Day.
Good parenting.
You guys can follow Sean Chandler, Sean Chandler Talks About on YouTube and Sean Chandler Plus. Thank you so much, Sean. Great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.